had several rounds of welcome. So, once again, welcoming you to this very special edition of Expresso, which is one of our flagship platforms. And we've just heard a most fascinating story about people who started from the outside and are now center stage. And both you ladies are people who actually work their way to where you are without any help, without anything at all. So, welcome to both of you, and I'm sure we're going to have a great conversation around this. So, we because Netflix is here and you are with Netflix right at this moment, I'm going to start with Delhi Crime Part 3, of which Huma joins you as Madam Sir, and she's the antagonist. How many people here are either watching it or have watched Delhi Crime? Okay, that's like
Thank you, guys.
a lot of people. So
It's
I'm
number one because of you guys, huh?
so yeah. So let me ask you. Let me start by asking you when you started. When Richie Mehta came to you with this idea of you playing this cop, what was the first thing that came to your head?
Hi, good evening, everyone. It's an absolute honor and pleasure to be here. A very inspiring story. Situ, I love this entire setting. It's beautiful, and it's just wonderful being here. Amreen, you're a darling. Um, when Rishi came to me, I said yes to this project in less than 5 minutes. When the Nirbhaya case had happened, all of us had one question. I had it too, that why is no one doing anything about this? And when I heard the script, I realized there was somebody doing something about it, and it was a woman. So there was no way I was going to say no for that. The lady who cracked the case, Ma'am Chaya Sharma, complete rock star. And I had the opportunity of playing that part and in some small way feel like, okay, there is hope. There is someone who's out there protecting us. And to step into those shoes, which were very, very big, has been overwhelming and just humbling. So there was no way I would have said no for it. Really, it was a no-brainer.
Right. What about you, Huma? When people came to you, I mean, when Netflix came to you with this one, um, did you at any point say, "Oh my God, no," because people are going to be petrified when they look at me? Because
Well,
you play a hard-nosed human trafficker, and that is the really one of the hardest things that for an actor to pull off without actually being hated.
absolutely. Good evening, everyone. Lovely to be here. And I think I've just been a fan of Delhi Crime, and I've been saying this from day one. So when Apurva, the producer, called me, I mean, I thought they're offering me a cop's part because of the kind of work that I do. But she said, "No, babe, this is something different. This is actually the antagonist." And I had never imagined. But then the moment she said it, I was like, actually, that makes a lot of sense. And of course, I met Tanuj, I read the script, and it was really dark. And a part of me was really excited about doing something so different and so challenging. Actors often, like, we get boxed into ideas of by ourselves also, not just the audiences or like producers, but we also start believing that, okay, this is the kind of work I want to do. So it's nice to be challenged sometimes. It's nice to sort of play somebody with zero moral compass, who has no excuse for being so terrible. I mean, she does actually, in a way, because I mean, we'll come to that at some point. But just someone who's out and out black, not gray, not peach, not pink, but just black. And I think also as a woman doing that, because you never see women gangsters in that sense, or bad people. You always see them as the gunde ke piche one hot girl is standing. And I thought it'll be nice to just play like
To have
the baddie for a change.
the non-hot girl sing Lado. Scary that is.
I mean, that was like, I
Yeah.
wanted to do like a nursery rhyme almost. Like,
Hmm.
it was my version of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
Yeah.
Because in my head, all the learning and the empathy and the understanding and who I am and what I really stand for, I'm like, okay, I'm going to use that to the opposite. So if you're going to sing a lullaby to a child to comfort them, this is how she's comforting them, by doing Laddu Rani, because she knows what she's doing. So I mean, I don't know, when I say this also, it makes me like sort of shrink. But yeah, that
Yes.
was the thought behind.
Right. Shefali, I wanted to ask you, are you one of those actors who actually decides that, okay, if I have to play a cop, I'm going to like sit and talk to a real cop? Because I also know that many years ago you spent some time in a prison when you were doing a, well, you visited a prison when you were doing a role. So,
शक तो मुझे
so
था इस पे वैसे.
this was years ago. I think it was a Rahul Bose film, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I wanted to know: do you actually do, sort of in your when you are prepping, what are you thinking of? Are you thinking of talking to real life? Are you? This is completely out of your own imagination.
So, if anybody had respect for me because I am a method actor, I'm going to drop that right now. I never went to a prison to study anything. So I'm going to be very, very honest about it. I don't know what film, what is.
Some
Okay,
interview I was reading.
not
of
mine.
yours.
Please say it wasn't mine. Please, I couldn't be so
Actually,
delusional.
researching, and
Okay,
it was yesterday. It came up in something of mine.
Okay, so to set the record straight, no, I did not go to the prison. I had the honor of meeting Chaya ma'am, Chaya Sharma, briefly for 2 hours. But it's impossible uh, to soak in somebody's entire personality in 2 hours. It's not possible. But I did. I think obviously the moral compass was right there. All of us felt completely appalled with what had happened, and we wanted to solve it. She, luckily and gratefully for us, had the power to do it. So I did meet her, but at the same time, Vartika had to be her own person. And there was a script in front of me, which was a solid blueprint, which Rishi Mehta had taken 6 years to research on and write. So he made it very easy. And then it's also one of the most wonderful things Rishi had told me when he first met me is he said, I don't want an actor, I want a collaborator. And I've written this, but now I want you to take it and make it your own. And that's how it happened. Of course, there is a lot of thought, emotion, heart, soul. Studying is the wrong word. Reading, questioning, dissecting every word, everything that goes into it. But and with all due respect, I don't believe, I don't follow the path of method acting. The more time I got with someone, I would be highly obliged, because it would be only wonderful to soaking in, the essence of someone. But I let, at some point of time, the instinct take over.
You become the
I want to
actor.
second that
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah.
because a lot has been said about actors and the method and all of that. And sometimes it makes for great interviews, and it makes for great like headlines ki 2 दिन तक मैंने खाना नहीं खाया, मैं जेल गई, या मैं डिप्रेस होके
It
थेरेपी
was
लेने
that.
पड़ी, हाँ,
Jail gayi मैं.
jail
हो
गई,
सकता
so
है.
so that there's your headline right there.
Next clickbait.
Right, that's the next clickbait, and it sounds also really cool. But I feel actually what Chef said, it's script पढ़ो, common sense लगाओ, director की बात सुनो, just come little prepared. And I think the most important, and I've seen her also do it, just be in the moment. I think the magical hour for all actors is between action and cut, and what you do in the middle, not before and not after. But much has been said, and conversations have been had about like prep kya tha, या वो darkness को आप घर लेके गए. No, just because I have to kill somebody in a film, I don't actually start killing people. Just because I'm romancing a hero, I don't have to have an affair with him.
So I'm going to take you back to your beginning, sort of. You came into the movies through advertising, right? Commercials, and was it Anurag Kashyap who saw? She said you have potential, so come, and gave you a 3-film deal.
There was this casting director called Tia. I don't even know if she still does casting anymore. Who she does? So Tia, I love you, because she cast me for this, and we're not in touch anymore, for this ad with Mr. Amir Khan for a mobile ad. And it was a 4-day shoot in YN Panchgani. So very happily I've gone there. And on the second day of shoot, and this was, by the way, Anurag Kashyap's first ad. This is the first time he started directing an ad, but I had done by now I had done 10 ads. So I thought of myself as the Delhi girl, a veteran. हम दिल्ली वालों की आदत होती है ना थोड़ा सा, जहाँ जाते थोड़ा फैल जाते. So of course I walked in कि I've done 10 ads, and I had a lot of makeup on, which is the ad dunya mein whatever is appropriate. So he's come and he's like, what is this? So I said, आपका पहला ad है, मेरा 10वां है. I swear this has happened. I swear. I think maybe that's when he thought कि इसको cast कर लेता हूँ. ये gangs of Wasseypur में इसकी जगह है.
एक gang member तो ये बन सकती है.
I literally said, and now when I think, I'm like, what guts? But that bachpana or that Gargi college enthusiasm and that Delhi spirit. And on the second day, you told me, I think I'm going to cast you. I'm making this movie. I'm going to cast you. And again, one more one liner I've given. I said, "Arey, itna aasan nahi hota hai. Abhi to I've just come. I need to struggle a little bit."
Acha, you're saying it like that.
Huh.
But you know what I mean. So anyway, that's how Gangs of Wasseypur happened, and I got paid. I keep saying it again and again, 65,000 rupees. There was no 3 film deal, but it was the best experience of my life, and I would do it all over again for like no money, but just to have that experience to work with all those amazing people all over again. I think that film has really changed my life, and it's changed, I mean, Indian cinema in so many different ways, like by giving it so much talent. So
Right.
yeah, forever
Right.
grateful.
Shefali, I want to ask you, what got you into the movies? I know that your journey from television, I think at that time, Indian television was going through a renaissance, which I haven't seen happen after that, because you acted in some of the early shows that were fantastic, including Banegi Apni Baat, Hasrate. Hasrate, in fact, was something, I think it was ahead of its time in the way it presented you as a woman who actually was going to be very happy, not being happy in an unhappy marriage, and that was a radical role for that time. So talk us through a little bit about that time of your coming into the entertainment industry, and how television was your first stop, so to speak, and from there how you went into the movies. Long question, but
So I'm allowed a long answer. Well, I came into acting very incidentally. It was not a plan. It was definitely not on the agenda. It wasn't even one of those dreams you dream that, I'm going to be a part in the Miss Universe or I'm going to be an actor. I wasn't being unrealistic like that. So, one of my teachers had seen some photographs that my mother used to click. This is when I was 10 years old, and her husband was a playwright for Gujarati theatre. And they came and asked my mom if I would be a part of that play. She said, I don't think she's going to be able to pull it off, but you can try it. And I did that play. It was based on Omen. So there's this child who's possessed. I think I fit it very well. And and then I did the play, got great reviews. That was the end of it. And then when I was getting admission into a college, I got it also because I had all these reviews. And that college particularly had a very, very strong dramatics faculty. And then I started doing intercollegiate, and that landed me some plays. So I did theater, and then somebody recommended my name somewhere else or whatever. And then I landed up doing television. It was really just happening. And I think after maybe 6 months or a year or whatever, I said, I do this every day. I get paid $700 or something like for a show. This must be my job. And that's how I just went into it. I'm glad I was a part of television when it really held a lot of heart, soul, and metal. Because sadly, and I'm not trying to, pass a judgment on anything, but later on, when I started getting offers much later, it was about meeting the TRP and the deadline. We just have to do it. There was nothing fresh. There wasn't a beginning, middle, and end. Luckily, when I did television, there was a proper story, great characters, and that show did have an end at some point of time, so you could do something else with your life, unlike like just keep doing that for the rest of your life kind of a thing. So that is, and yes, like you said, that got me a lot of it got me a lot of love, because you watch this person every single day, in your living room, uh, which I feel really obliged for. And then I think just as somebody said, "Ye film karo, why don't you meet XYZ?" Or they said, "Why don't you, audition this girl?" And I did Rangila, which I like to skip. And then Satya happened, and then Monsoon Wedding happened, and then just
yeah, so let me talk to you very quickly about both of my favorite roles. I mean, Satya and that absolutely fantastic conversation that you all have at the dining table. You're talking about Chipkali. And Monsoon Wedding, which is one of the darkest characters, and I think your character plays a very very crucial role in how the movie pans out, and the way it turned all the shadi movies of Bollywood on their head, because it was monsoon, a season where weddings don't really happen, but there is Mira's film and Declan's camera has barish all through. And there is Shefali who comes in, and I'm talking to you at the third person. The Shefali's character comes in and completely changes the tone and the tenor of the film. Do you remember what that doing that role felt like? Because it was I think it one of the most unusual roles that has been played by an actor.
So when Mira called me for the part,
Meera Nair.
Mira Nair, she called me for it and she spoke to me in Hindi and she said, "Mujhe nahi pata you know English or no," because I'd done Satya and that's what she had seen. So I was like, "Oh, great, that's wonderful." And I read the script, and even though I did not have, let's say, the understanding that I do have today, there was one thing that stood out, and that was, every single woman has probably gone through something like this. After the film released, so many women, girls have said it gave us voice. Something we never spoke about came out. I remember a lot of our friends, and we were sitting and having a conversation, and every single one had had an experience. The extent of it varied, whether it was a cat call, whether it was somebody, touching you inappropriately, or somebody from the family behaving badly. Everyone's had it, just that there was no voice for it. And Monsoon Wedding became that voice. I don't remember a film before that where it was so loudly out there, spoken out. And not just because of what Ria does, but it's also because of the stand her father takes, her uncle takes. There's a beautiful line in the film which Nasir Bhai says that I will protect my children from myself if I have to, which is just beautiful. I get goosebumps when I say it.
Yes.
So that is what the film did. And till date, I remember, I have to say this, till date, I think a year or 2 years ago, I was in Delhi. We had had one of those night shoots, and I came back to the hotel. It was early morning or something, and this beautiful, handsome couple walked up to me. I think the lady must have been 70s and the gentleman was around 80 or whatever. Walked up to me. The lady just held on to my hand without saying a word. And the gentleman was speaking to me and he said, "I'm a colonel and whatever, whatever. And I have seen your film and we love your work." And she just wouldn't let my hand go. And she had tears in her eyes. So I didn't know exactly what to do except just hold on to her hand. And he said, when she was a child, she went through this. And she could not speak about it until she saw Monsoon Wedding. And I get goosebumps when I say this. And it was just, I think, I wouldn't say it is gratifying because I wouldn't wish this on anyone, but it did give a voice to a lot of people. It gave that strength of, I don't have to keep quiet and it's not my shame to carry. So I think it played a very, very important part in my life, in creatively and even personally and emotionally.
Yes, and I think it also added to the cultural conversation around that whole taboo subject. No one spoke about
Yeah.
it, and I think part of in fact, a lot of your own films have been very interesting to me because they've actually opened up um, um, doors which were closed up until then, including Dil Dhadakne Do, which I will come to you later. But I wanted to, Huma, in Gangs of Wasipur, when you're sitting there with Nawazuddin's character and your character says that famous permission to lena chahiye tha, was that your line?
I wish. Well, that's the biggest fight Nawaz and I have because I made it mine. But it happened to him. And I think it's kind of crazy, right? Like sometimes, even if you wanted to sort of go back in time and write history and write your own career, I don't think I would have ever imagined that I could have written a better start to it. That the first line I'll ever say would be "Permission to leni chahiye." And Shubhra, when that film released, um, I was very nervous about it because I'm barely there in the film. In a two-part series, in a two-part film, I'm there for probably what 25 minutes. So I really wasn't sure ki what's going to happen to that film, and so I would the people who knew around me knew about it or whatever, and aisa bhi nahi hai ki matlab we were getting some special treatment that I'm being launched or whatever. But and so when part one released, I'm talking about theatrically, and that scene became a thing, I didn't know what hit me. And that's when you understand the power of movies and films and the reach that they have and how they become part of popular conversation. Us time pe, had just sort of joined Twitter, and suddenly people started following me, and people were tweeting to me and writing to me, and uh, having a conversation about me in third person and like tagging me, and I'm like, oh, this, and it's very surreal to sort of have that, and I would just sit at home on my couch and just be reading things, and like, oh, this is what it feels like, right? But it's really magical to sort of go through that. And yeah, I think I'm happy that, and maybe in a way it sort of was sort of showing me my path in terms of the work I would later also do. I think that line in a way sort of sealed my fate.
Yeah, and I think it was said in jest. It's kind of like it's a throwaway line, but it became so much a part of permission,
Yeah,
about consent, about the whole thing, about something that most people don't even talk about in mainstream cinema. So I think part of it, your
it's like a
roles have
meme.
segued
Yeah,
into
it's become a
opening up.
popular meme. And I
It's
feel,
become a
in
meme.
fact, I feel it's so important. That's what it taught me as well, right? Sometimes really heavy things or really important things don't necessarily need to be said in a heavy and an important and a self-aware way. It's important that jinko farak padna chahiye, the younger people, that they actually understand it and talk about it. But what happens, we think if we don't, we need to speak a certain way if you're talking about serious things. So the people जिनकी life को ये actually कुछ फर्क पड़ेगा इससे, उन तक वो बात पहुंचती नहीं है, because kids are not watching documentaries, kids are not reading articles, kids are like, they are watching what, popular music, watching
They're
films,
watching reels
they're watching
basically.
reels today. So I'm saying
Yeah.
today I'm happy, chalo, it's a reel. So
Mm.
maybe somebody will send it to a girlfriend or a boyfriend, and they'll maybe laugh about it, but maybe it'll make them also think about something.
It definitely did. And in fact, that brings me to my question to both of you. And I'm going to ask you, Shefali, your Dil Dhadakne role, Dil Dhadakne Do role, again, it was a role which was, I think a lot of us will remember that one scene of yours in front of the mirror, right? It is, I think, one of the seminal scenes in that film, and it stays with you. It doesn't go away at all. And it's so much it's so moving to see a woman being so vulnerable and so naked in front of the camera. What brought you to that moment? And then I'm going to broaden the conversation a little bit, but please do talk about that one.
Shiva, you're talking about the moment
The
where
moment,
she's
yes.
ready and he's standing
Yes,
there?
yes,
That one.
yes, absolutely.
Uh, Sadly, how many of us have actually gone through it? A lot.
A lot of
A
us,
lot of us.
yes.
And of course, she was in a really bad marriage and situation. But a lot of people, even if they're in a healthy relationship, forget to appreciate. And after a point of time, it's not so much about, am I looking pretty? It's about, you saw me. Every relationship. I mean, I read I think I saw a film or I saw a clip where this actress is saying, do you know why people get married? Because they want to be seen, because they want their entire life to be documented in somebody else's eyes. And that's what that moment is about. Yes, Neelam Mehra is in a pathetic marriage, but it was actually about that we just don't appreciate enough. And all we want is to be seen. So that's what you asked me, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Uh, all right. So now I wanted to actually broaden the conversation from your specific roles to, though I will ask you about Maharani, to about the fact that right now, maybe the best time for women oriented roles to be out, not in cinema, but on the web series. So, what has the existence of platforms which are OTT, over the top, done to, I think, choices and opportunities that are opening up right now as we speak. You want to take it first? Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think I remember doing a show called Leila with Netflix, which was, I think, their first female forward sort of show that they had put out. And it was a wonderful experience. And I worked with a wonderful, wonderful director called Deepa
Deepa
Mehta,
Mehta, yeah.
who I think working with her really changed something inside me. Because for the first time, there was somebody who told me that I didn't need to. It was very radical for me at that point in time. I didn't need a hero. I could be the hero of this whole piece, and the camera could be literally like an inch away from my nose. I didn't need to wear makeup to look beautiful or to feel secure, and I was enough. She was the first person who made me feel like I was just enough, and it was just it's like a little like a knot like a switch inside you that turns, and suddenly you feel like, oh, you see the world a little differently. And that's what I think working on that show and that experience gave me. And I think, of course, then many other and much bigger successes followed, but that was the starting point if I really look back at it.
Had you read
uh,
Prayag's book before
i
you?
had i had and I think what has gone on to happen, whether it's Netflix or any of the other platforms, is that they're slowly sort of rejecting this conventional wisdom about theatrical business only being led by men, and hence only those films will get greenlit about those. It's like a circle, right? Because you feel like only men go and watch movies, enough women don't actually go out and watch movies. So those subjects are what get made, and there's a certain lens and a gaze to it, and that thing will never stop. However, having said that, today, uh, the OTT space has shown time and again that there's a ready audience. There's a captive audience. It consists of women and men. I don't think shows like Delhi Crime or Maharani are only seen by women. They're seen by everybody and they're loved by everybody. Those numbers speak for themselves. Hence, if tomorrow Delhi Crime was to be a film, I'm sure a lot of people would go and watch it. But again, it's because there's so many gatekeepers, from the time a film is made to the time it's released, that actually, and they come with a lot of bias and a lot of traditional understanding of how the business has been working in the past. It takes a lot for things to change, and it's really unfortunate, but it is true. But definitely players like and streamers like Netflix are changing the game. They're showing us, and hopefully one day somebody will read that Excel sheet and be like, no, we can do things differently.
Shefali, what about you? A lot of your recent work is on the streaming platforms, including I think the Avinash Arun's
Three of us.
the Three of Us, which was on Netflix, and what was the other one which you had done with
Darlings.
Neeraj Kabi?
Once again.
Once again, yes, and now this. So, do you think that uh, theaters are no longer receptive to stories which are character driven, or are they only tentpole, sort of, um, uh, the kind of big budget tentpole event films that have now crowding our theaters?
On the contrary, I think it's kind of changing now. Sadly, theaters were limited to these big budget films earlier. I genuinely believe that going to a theater, watching a film with your family and friends, eating a samosa is a culture in our country like cricket. It can never go away and it should never go away. Having said that, there are stories that need to be told. If you go back to 60s, 70s, there were so many films led by women. You talk about Aradhana, Amar Prem, Ghar, Guide, Andhi. And sadly, there came a patch where a woman became an accessory to the film. Also, you just had to be tall, pretty, thin, and between 18 to 25, if you were lucky. Besides that, they had no space for anyone. And the OTT platforms changed it. It started giving full-fledged roles, stories which you may not have heard and which may not conventionally be fitting the box office or whatever it required. And so many creative people, and I can say that, I mean, so many creative people who who have been brilliant, but they never got the opportunity, or all the compliments never translated into work. You know, when I see a Nawaz, I see a Jaideep, I see a Rajkumar Rao, I see Vijay, and I feel, oh my God, I'm so happy they're where they are. They deserve this, and rightfully so. So I think the OTT platform gave that opportunity, not just to actors but even to writers, to directors. There were stories, and you know, there a lot of people must have been shut up, like shut down, saying this is not going to work in the theaters.
But my question is still something that I've been observing over the years, that people will not come into the movie post COVID, particularly. There has been a sea change in the way we actually go to the movies, right? What about you? Did people come for single Salma as many as you expected to?
So again, I'm glad you actually brought it up. So thank you. So Single Salma is a film that I did. It released on the 31st of October, and no, it not many people got to see it. It wasn't really promoted. There was no marketing spend on it. I mean, not even like bare minimum. There was no real sort of
Buzz around it?
buzz around it or conversation around it, because the belief was ki, okay, now it's going to come on a streamer and that whatever it's done, so there is no point in it, because of what you said ki, there's a thing ki people are not really coming into theaters, uh, which I feel what it's going to do, and that kind of already knowing it is just going to kill the business, because the big machismo films and the big blockbusters are not going to sustain the business. It's the small and the mid-sized films that always have and always will keep the business going. I don't have the exact metrics, so I don't want to say something wrong in a platform like this. But if there were 10,000, for example, films being made, we are making today in the Hindi film business half of that number. It probably doesn't affect me or Chef or anybody else, but definitely affects the lives of the daily wage laborers. It's definitely affecting those people. So what is happening, it's a trickle down effect, and that is something we need to really do something about if we want the business to sustain. We want stories from all across the country. We don't only just want to make one kind of story and one kind of thought, and and there's nothing wrong in that. I just feel all kinds of films must be made. So there's a single Salma, and especially for somebody like me, when right now I have a Maharani, I have a Delhi Crime, I had a Jolly LLB was in theaters 2 weeks before that, which did about 100 something. So in the middle of all this, a small film is coming. The least one expects is for that to get a basic level of showcasing. It didn't even get a 200 screen release. In Andheri, which is matlab, close to where I live in Juhu. So I was checking shows. There was one show in Andheri at 250 bucks a ticket at 4:30. So what are we even talking about? So, and it really broke my heart when I saw that. And of course, I tried to do whatever. There's only that much you can do when the ship is sailed. But
Once.
so I feel like मेरे साथ ही हो सकता है. Can you imagine if today a young person wants to be a director or a producer or an actor in the Hindi film business? What opportunities do you really have, or what options do you really have? Not very many.
Well, you raised that, so I can talk about how Kanu Behel's Agra, which was released last Friday, didn't get anything at all. No shows at all when you're talking, and that was a Cannes
I have a film
premiere
that
as
went
well.
to Bayan. I have a film called Bayan, which went to TIFF. It went to Busan. It's at the Cairo Film Festival. We still haven't sold it to a streamer. And my fear is, I hope it doesn't happen. I hope, inshallah, it doesn't happen. But if out of the 2 or 3 players that are there, the major players, if it doesn't get picked up, the producer will be forced to release in the theater. Then what happens to a film like that, because it's a small budget film, it cannot afford and it cannot compete with the big blockbusters of the world. So
Right.
what do, then it'll come, it'll go, and it'll say अरे picture चली नहीं, but बाद में कभी आप कहीं देखोगे बोले अच्छी film थी यार.
Hmm.
We actually really connected with it. So what needs to happen fundamentally is we have to figure out, is there a way where all the different players get together and be like, okay, we are going to go discounted tickets, we are going to go special show timings, we will make sure that the marketing spend is lesser. And it is possible if everybody aligns, because in the long term it'll be better for the business. Sorry, I'm saying so much. I'm really passionate about this.
This is why we are here and talking to you. So the thing with this, what you just said, is like when people like us who watch movies and write about them, generally the one question that used to be asked was, "ये वाली picture कैसी है? हम देखें कि नहीं?" Now the first question I get asked is, "ये OTT पर कब आ रही है?" See, this is the kind of system, and this is the kind of lives that we are now living in. But having said all of this, both of you are getting into production, or are you already producers? Because is this something that you can change? You know, if you are going to be producing your own films, will you have the power or to shape the films and their release? Is that something that either of you or both of you are considering, or have you already done so? Because one of your line, you're a co-producer on Delhi
I,
Crime,
I,
right?
I'm an executive producer,
Okay.
and I just wanted to own every possible space of a show that I love so dearly, and that's how it is. Am I a producer on job, like actually on set doing my duties as a producer, or while I'm making the Excel sheet? No, I'm not. But will I contribute everything I can in my capacity and more? Yes, I will. So it's not something that I would be, if you tell me, am I going to independently produce? No. But if you ask me, would I direct? Yes, I would love to. And if that can change a narrative, I think I have the privilege of a mic and a camera. And if I don't use it to at least a small extent, it would be really unfair. So,
Is that something that you're thinking about?
of directing,
Yeah.
yes, I want to, but I also understand the kind of hard work and money a producer, a spot boy, everyone puts into it. So I need to really know what I'm getting into before I dive in.
And Huma, what about you? Have you ever thought
Uh,
about getting into production?
we are so
Yeah.
Sakib, my brother and I, we have a production company called Salim Siblings. I mean, explanatory, yeah. And we've actually produced a film. We've raised some money and put some of our own to make a film called Baby Do Die Do. Like Karmarkar, it's actually yeah. So Do Die Do. So Baby Do Die Do, and we are looking at a release next year. Of course, exactly what we're discussing. Do we do a theatrical release? Do we sell it to a streamer? But when we start the journey for this film, we just wanted to make a film and we want to tell stories. In some ways, we're very silly, both of us. Still, and we still believe that कुछ भी possible hai. That's the same, I think, thought and ambition with which Sakib and I went to Mumbai. कि हाँ यार, मतलब we'll walk into a room, we'll do an audition, and maybe we'll become a movie star. But guess what we did? So with that same kind of silliness, we are thinking, yeah, we're going to be first generation producers, and we don't know how everything works today, but we'll figure it out, and we'll make one film, we'll make another film, we'll make a third film. या तो मतलब जीत जाएंगे या सीख जाएंगे, but कुछ अच्छा ही होगा. So that's the thought.
Right.
And no, and I feel, so just to come back to what you were talking, I feel very blessed, and I'm not trying to uh shit on the streamers, because I really do believe, like, today we have a show like Delhi Crime. I'm the face of a show called Maharani, which is on Sony Live, and they both are number 1 and 2 respectively right now, and it's really changed my life, for the better. Having said that, I feel for the business to flourish, each and every kind of film needs to flourish. So hey, maybe some films we need to protect a little bit more. If and I feel the responsibility is on us also to make better films, but also on you guys to go out and support such kind of films and watch them. Because उसके बाद फिर आप लोग बोलते हो आप लोग अच्छी पिक्चर नहीं बनाते हो, अरे इसका स्टोरी तो वैसा ही था. But then it's a two-way thing, right? We are actually artists, we perform for you, and you guys have to go and support the movie. So it works both ways.
Right.
I have I agree with what Huma's saying, but I also feel that the OTT platforms have really opened doors. I remember this film with Neeraj Kavi called Once Again. And when the film got made, and the producers and the director, and we were all sitting together, and they said, let's do a theatrical. And then they asked me, what do you think? I said, I'd love to see myself on a poster, but is anyone going to come and watch it? Why would you want to throw away a beautiful film? Because what will happen is it'll release on Friday, it won't make the numbers, and people will say flop hai, khatam. The fate of a film which has been worked on by 1 million people over a year, 2 years, will be decided on that one Friday, which is really not fair. So OTT is giving you an opportunity of all of it, and not to forget that it's broken those boxes. There is no hero, heroine, villain, or baki sab sofa, chair, jo bhi ban sakte hain, kind of a thing. They all have parts, they all have stories. So I think it's a great great place. And I, honestly, it's not like I ever got the people to the theaters, so it doesn't matter to me. I'm very happy as far as they're watching my work. It's reaching the world, and I
Yes.
am really excited about it.
I wanted to ask you, what do you do when you want to just like kick back? Do you watch other people's movies? Do you watch your own films? Do you do nothing? What do you do?
I don't
Both of
like to
you.
watch my own films.
Okay.
I hate watching my own films because I'm so shallow. I'm only looking at my hair and my one pimple.
Rubbish.
I
I
swear.
refuse to.
I swear. Like if any actor is telling you that I'm looking at my performance,
I
rubbish.
don't even try looking at performance or face. Either ways, it's not going to work. So I'm just like, nahi dekhna, rehne
Which
do.
is why I never even see the monitor because I'll not be looking at the shot. I'll be looking at the baal. ठीक है यार ये कुर्ता थोड़ा pull करो ना ये like my mind is only tuned that way, very very vain. But I do like watching films. I like reading. I like traveling. I like eating. I like being fed.
Right. Good. Okay. What about you, Shefali?
Actually, exactly that. I don't watch my work because I know I won't like it. So why go there?
Are you your hardest critic? Harshest critic?
Yes, yes. And every single time I feel I just got lucky. I have this massive imposter syndrome of, अच्छा last time ये चल गया, it was fluke. अब क्या करेंगे? Next set पर क्या करेंगे? Now you'll get caught. It's that whole thing. But I love reading. I
Sorry,
love watching.
जिन लोगों को पता नहीं imposter syndrome क्या होता है, सिर्फ अच्छे एक्टर्स को होता है, बुरे एक्टर्स को कभी नहीं होता है. उनको लगता है किल कर दिया है.
It's so I love reading. I love traveling. I love food. What else? Movies. I want to watch everything that's released.
Right. But now that I have both of you captive, I wanted to ask you, as a film critic of, I've been doing this for a while now. Uh,
I
how do
know we've
you?
read all your reviews.
How do you?
I was dying to say this all evening.
How
And
do you?
thank you for being very kind to Delhi Crime.
Yes, that's one. I'm never kind. I really genuinely like
No,
it.
no, I'm just
Right. But how do you respond to critiques? Do you read them? Do you have your team read them to you? Do you follow? How and or do you actually read it to actually say, okay, this is a person who's saying it for this reason, and maybe I should, maybe you should sort of bring it back into your work. Is that a thought that comes to you?
I do read reviews, of course, because how else do you know that Friday when you're sitting and a show or a film is releasing? Like, what do? You have nothing to do because now the promotional marketing teams have also left you. You're really sort of sitting at home and just waiting for that verdict. Does it affect you? I guess you're curious about what people think about your work, and there's some people. Like some actors, I'm sure you like a little more than the others. Some reviewers you like a little bit more than the others because you've also followed their work, right? And they also, I think, their work speaks for them for itself. Having said that, I do believe, like, I'll give you an example, like Maharani is a show. I do believe that when season 1 came out, the English media completely shat on it. In fact, we all read the reviews and we all were depressed. कि यार गलत बन गया. Maybe we'll try harder, we'll do something else, and maybe we misfire it, and we took it very sportingly. But by Monday, when the show's numbers came, it was just crazy. And today we're sitting on season 4. And even then and there, I think by the time season 2 and 3 came, then it went the other extreme. Then everybody loved everything. So मैंने कहा, okay, now one needs to also understand that perhaps it's overcorrection. But I think it was saying something about the people also who review, because it's like something is vernacular or something is little massy, so it doesn't need to necessarily be not respected or spoken about a certain way. So I don't take them too much to heart. I feel eventually, it's whether it's a series or a film, the audience is the ultimate metric of you know
What about you, Shafali?
so earlier I used to get very deeply affected if anybody, even हमारी building का watchman, if he didn't like me, I was like barbad. Total, like rickshaw wala did not like my work, finished. That's the end of it. I want to go and hide under a rock. And obviously when a critique is um, saying something about your work, it's even more disturbing. But now I kind of, I can wait, right? I mean, I've seen 98 good reviews and 2 not good reviews. I know where it stands. And also, when you're doing a project, I like when I did Delhi Crime, we didn't know where it was going to be even showcased. But we were so proud of what we created. that it didn't matter. You don't like it, too bad. And honestly, art is subjective. Somebody may love it, somebody may not like it, but I am very proud of what we created together. So yeah.
Right. So here are our ladies who matter, and I'm here. I'm opening the conversation to people, and please raise your hands. And
I must actually believe in my power of manifestation, because here you have Huma and Shefali, two of the greatest women I admire. And while I'm watching Maharani 4, I never knew I would be so easily and so quickly within breathing space, should I say hitting distance of you, Huma. So my question to you is, so here you are sitting in this bomber jacket with leather boots and Gen Z kind of clothing, fabulously colored hair. I mean, you're a picture, you're a vision. This Huma, who effortlessly slips into, this is my attempt at copying you. हम अकेला नहीं रोशनी हमरा साथ पूरा बिहार भा. So how do you do it? I want to know. Of course, I know that you're a Delhi girl and you have a fabulous Hindi accent, not tainted at all, which I admire deeply. But do tell me how you do it. But maybe someday, one of my books, I would like to cast you, God willing.
थैंक यू सो मच, दैट्स सो काइंड ऑफ यू. मुझे नहीं पता था यहाँ पे कास्टिंग भी चल रही है. मैं और अच्छा कुछ पहन के आती, बट नो, थैंक यू सो मच. आई डोंट नो, डू आई वर्क हार्ड? आई थिंक आई लाइक टू थिंक आई वर्क हार्ड. डू आई प्रेप? आई डू प्रेप, but I think everybody preps and everybody works hard. ऐसे मतलब I don't like to think of myself as somebody who has a special method. I read the script. I'll tell you a little secret why I'm trying to attempt to do different accents, because I'm petrified of repeating myself. Because I'm also, the last couple of years I've been shooting so much and multiple things. So at some point, my brother told me ki tum thoda slow down. Like, why do you have this urge to be on a film set every single day of your life? Sometimes I'm doing a double shift. And I was like, I don't know, perhaps jab kaam nahi tha, so you would think ki, how will I feel like to be the busiest person or the actor? और ना अभी जब है ना, तो मुझे लगता है बरकत को मना नहीं करना चाहिए. So I'm like, okay, let's just say yes. So I'm like, but of course my contract with you guys is I need to keep entertaining you, and if I don't give you something different, I'm gonna probably, you'll just be sick of me to see me every single day. So I'm like, okay, so ये मेरा तोड़ है, please don't use it against me. I'm like, okay, I can't change how I look. I can't change many physically things about me. So, okay, I'm going to try and maybe in some film do a prosthetic, in some film do an accent, in some film. Maybe it's a different genre I've not done before, because the people you work with also, they shoot you differently, they see you differently. You know how maybe a Sanjay sir would shoot a song and how a Vasan will shoot a song, and how, that'll look different. So I'm just trying to be like, okay, I want to collaborate with people. When I'm doing a Badi Didi, like I know, working with Chef and how Tanuj would shoot me would be very, very different to how a Maharani would be. अब वो किस्मत है कि वो आगे पीछे चीजें मतलब everything's coming together, but that is my attempt at least, and so I don't know how I do it. I think कुछ तो हो जाता है अपने आप.
right. Can we get a mic over there?
So, in my opinion, the show Delhi Crime is world class, and season 1 getting the International Emmy in 2020 is evidence of that. My question is, how much of the show is viewed by an international audience? So, the international viewership, and how much of it, since it's available in English as well, how much of it is viewed in English? Do you have that metric?
No, I wouldn't have that metric. Probably Netflix does.
Uh,
But all I can say is I remember I was in, I think, Italy, in a very small, small town. And there was this beautiful castle. And, I was loitering around. And there was this one particular chamber which they had blocked because there was somebody shooting something. I mean, it was some international Italian project or whatever they were. So I was still hanging around doing my own thing, waiting for that chamber to open so I could go and view it as a viewer of a museum or whatever. And this woman walks out, and I was with somebody, and she walked up to this gentleman. She was an Italian. She couldn't even speak English properly. And she said, "Madam, sir?"
Oh.
And I was like, Oh my God, I have arrived. I was so excited, but that is the kind of reach. And that is one of the strengths of OTT. You know, everybody, you're not just making a film or a project for yourself and your neighbors. It's going across the entire globe. That is the standard you're trying to match. And as a viewer and a student of cinema, I get to watch everything that's been created in the world. So the Matrix probably
Early trends indicate that we could be number 9 global, top 10. Not India, global. तो इन्होंने मुझे बताया तो अगर मैं गलत बोल रही हूँ तो but I think she's right.
So, Ms. Qureshi, what about the Haryanvi accent in Delhi Crime 3? Is it that you learned the language, or is it that you mugged the script?
I didn't learn the language. I think it would be very wrong of me to sort of say that. I work with the accent coach. So how we normally work on these scripts is we get the script and at some point Tanu was the director and I decided that this character would speak in Haryanvi because it would give her a certain sort of, rootedness. And then we had an accent coach called Sandeep Goyat who really helped me with the lines. And he also wrote a lot of dialogue. Him and there's another girl called Shrishti. They wrote a lot of these lines. So a lot of the things that are there in the show, actually they've come up with, so like.
It's not a question,
Yeah.
it's just a
Yeah.
comment to the question that came. Both of you are truly beautiful, witty, pretty, all. The answer to that question is, while I just put a picture of the event right now, my 19-year-old daughter in university in London says that she's been watching it. Lol, so funny, they are here. And my 80-year-old mother in Australia said, that's exactly what I'm watching. Wow. So that's your audience.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Oh, right. Can we get a mic over there, please? Yeah. Yeah.
First of all,
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you very much for just such an engaging conversation. Hi, my name is Fatima. I just wanted to ask both of you, and I'll start with Huma and then come to Ms. Shefali as well. You've talked about the different evolutions of how things are being viewed, right? Whether it's the way television changed or it's the way the challenges that are there in the theaters and people not being able to, maybe their challenges and opportunities. Do you think this whole OTT situation that we've looked at is going to stay here now? Is there any other big disruption you think about as an actor?
Ma'am, I'm not a soothsayer, so
Yeah.
it would be very difficult to predict technology with now AI coming in whatnot. We really don't know. Having said that, like I can only talk about my own personal lived experience. And I remember we probably saw like maybe 2 films at tops in the theater when I was growing up, but everything else was on the telly. So when I was growing up, all the big sort of channels were like coming to India. We would watch like English content and whatnot. From that, now we've come to like instant content, like 24/7. That's not stopped. So at some point, I guess we don't even know the space is going to go to. I just hope I still have a job after a few years. That's all.
I'm sure you.
Right. We have one last question over there, and then we'll wrap. Please, somebody get lady a mic.
As both of you have said, that the OTT is, you cannot be more international than that. But are you missing somewhere also the whole idea of making it big in a film on the big screen internationally, while both of you are doing very well on OTT?
I would love to. I mean,
Mm.
I've worked with Gurinder, I've worked with Deepa, I've worked with Mr. Zack Snyder on Army of the Dead. So, and they were all very, very enriching experiences. Have I had my fill? Definitely not. Would I like to do more? Absolutely. But here's what I would say, ma'am. I do believe that in the next few years, we will see Indian talent in some very, very mainstream stuff internationally. We will see Indians winning very, very big awards globally. It's going to happen in our lifetimes. It's going to happen and then happen in a very, very big way.
Okay. Please, can we get a question from there? Yeah.
I'll be brief. Thank you very much for giving me the chance. I'm glad I'm here. I normally don't come to filmy events, and this is not a filmy event. I've specialized in protection of civilians in armed conflict. I'm back home now, and you two are real women of substance. You are consistently different in everything you portray, both of you, and we look forward to seeing much more. But a quick question. You have remarkable faces, not normal. You're beautiful and you're striking. How do you manage to portray such different roles despite the limitation of your striking looks? You know what I mean? You go first. You go first.
You are looking. One second. Can you please tell her to answer first?
No, you answer.
Look, for
Despite
you,
your
Shefali.
striking looks, how do you manage to do such diverse characters?
And Shefali, for you, it's your eyes. That gaze of yours is so striking. Yet you manage to change it. And Delhi Crimes was a phenomenal one where you were the firm police wali, and yet you were the vulnerable one as well, where you understood the humanity of it. How did you do it?
Honestly, there is no maths to it. And there is no instruction manual to it either. I cannot quantify what I do or how I do it, but the only way and the closest thing I can say is I feel it. And I feel it very intensely. A lot of times I'm said, aren't you kind of overreacting it too much? But I'm very happy being too much. And I feel it very, very strongly. And that's what I think shows as soon as I feel it. And every character has their own language, their own body language, the way they move, their own strengths and weaknesses. So yes, there is Avartika Chaturvedi, and I'm so glad you acknowledged that her strength is her vulnerability. You know, she just chooses to put it aside and say, this is what I'm going to do. And on the other side, there is a Shailaja from three of us who is just so fragile. So the long and the short of it, I just feel it, and very intensely.
Sabse pehle, thank you for all the lovely compliments. I think women complimenting other women is my favorite genre. Like, really, it means the world to me. Boys to bolte rehte hain. But when a woman says it, it's really special. Honestly, ma'am, I think, you know, in my growing up, I felt like, at least maybe I went to a girls' college. I don't know the way I was raised. I don't know what it is, but I always felt like being striking or being beautiful or being pretty is not the only function of my life, because that has no contribution of my own. It is just something that is there or not there. However, what I leave behind in the world, in my body or work, that is my true legacy. And I feel I don't want to be remembered as just another pretty actress, because there'll be dime a dozen. And beauty and youth is something that goes away, right? And then what else is left? And I want to, at least when I retire with the body of work that people talk about long after, you know, my bones have rotten away. And that's what I'm working towards. So thank you for noticing, and thank you for appreciating.
You actually thinking of retiring? I thought actors never did.
No, I'll probably die on a movie set, but it's a good answer to give, no?
Right, okay. I know.
He said, SRK said, Delhi walon ko politics ke baare mein pata hai. You tell us, did you follow Bihar elections? What's your view on that?
I was
You are a
busy
Delhi wala,
promoting
and
the show.
I think they're talking to you, Shefali.
I was busy promoting the show.
नहीं भाई दिल्ली वाले हैं तो क्या ये
कर
बॉम्बे
दी ना
वाले हैं,
journalist वाली
politics तो
हरकत।
दोनों को आता है।
सबसे पहले तो मैं आपको इस सवाल की बधाई देना चाहूंगी कि अब ऑब्वियसली दिल्ली आए हैं तो एक पॉलिटिकल सवाल तो होना चाहिए। इसमें आई वुड लाइक टू प्लीड द फिफ्थ अमेंडमेंट। हमारे यहाँ होता नहीं है मगर no, because I'll tell you why. Because there's I do a character which is, of course, India's most political show, and I think apart from the reviews and the love and the audience love, I think the one thing that people will remember that show for years after is that we never managed to get into any kind of real controversy, and that for a political show is quite remarkable. And the reason is we're trying to talk politics, we're trying to talk about something, but without really like offending anyone or pick side. I think that's never the agenda. तो नियत जो हमारी है वो अपने आप दिख जाती है। तो जब कोई मुझसे पॉलिटिक्स की बात करता है तो मैं बोल देती हूँ कि भाई आई एम एन एक्ट्रेस, आई एम फ्रॉम बॉम्बे, मुझे क्या पता।
I completely echo what Huma said. Completely echo what Huma said.
पॉलिटिक्स के मामले में हम एकदम लो IQ एक्ट्रेसेस बन जाती हैं। हमें नहीं बनना भाई स्मार्ट।
See, there is a lot to it, and I can very honestly say I do not know all of it. So I'm not going to make a comment on something I don't know the kacha chitta of, you know. So yeah, if that means
और
I
पता
am
भी होगा तो
silly,
इतने
well,
बेवकूफ नहीं है कि बोलेंगे इनके
यहाँ
सामने यार।
आपको लेकिन अगर हम बुलवा कर ही छोड़ेंगे तो किसी दिन। But on that happy note, thank you very much for being a great audience. Thank you very much.
thank you so much.